Hello everyone and welcome to today's Chrissy B show, and today we're talking about leaving the nest and the issues that may arise from moving away from home for both the children and the parents. Now, exploring the psychology behind this is our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang. We'll also have on newsreader Helena Chard filling us in on the latest in positive news in this week's A Helping of Happy. And we have Costa Manuel of Autism Parenting Power to talk about her latest stance initiative for Anti-Bullying Week, along with Paul Hawkes, director of Kung Fu Schools, who was involved with the music video, and choreographer Vincent Martin. Chef Danielle Shine takes us to raw vegan restaurant Rawligion and teaches us how to make yummy meat-free meatball marinara. And at the end of the show, I give you my tips on how to cope with homesickness. Now, according to Psychology Today, empty nest syndrome is a feeling parents and family members may feel after the departure of other family members from the household. However, it is not recognized as a clinical condition. This is most commonly described with parents of children moving away to university, though it has been recorded to be felt by those moving away from home too. This is in part a result of both parties going through big mental and physical changes within themselves, adding to further feelings of isolation, loneliness and depression. But what do you think on Twitter? J-Mac's parents don't seem to be having this problem, stating, "My parents are clearly enjoying the empty nest." Porter Olivia has observed this too, saying, "Since my mother's children are all grown up, she has an empty nest and she got 2 cats." Casadilla says, "My parents are going to have an empty nest tomorrow. I don't think my mum is ready." Lungs embracing it, "I had such elaborate plans this morning, but here I am in bed enjoying the quiet and peace of an empty nest." Sixer High reminds us of the reality of the situation. Empty nest syndrome is real and can lead to crippling depression. Make sure you stay in constant communication with your parents. Well, some very interesting thoughts on leaving the nest there. So what does our resident psychologist, Dr. Audrey Tang, have to say about the parents that are left behind? Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thanks for having me, Chrissy.
So can you tell us a bit more about empty nest syndrome?
Yes, it is a profound feeling of sadness and grief, often at the child leaving home, whether the child is going to university or for whatever reason. Yeah. And it can be a trigger for depression, although it hasn't got really a clinical diagnosis in itself just yet. It is something that GPs will talk to parents about, should they want to talk about it. And it is important to recognise that it is an issue and it is something that is worth speaking to somebody, or if you feel like crying, if you need someone to talk to, don't feel embarrassed. It's actually okay to feel sad, because what's happened is it's a loss of purpose a lot of the time, especially it tends to occur more in full-time mothers, although if the father was a full-time caregiver or if it's the grandparents, the same thing can occur. And it's because you've focused everything around that child, and of course that child is now no longer there to have all of that focus. They'll still be in touch, of course, but it's not quite the same thing. The research is also quite interesting because they've looked at single parents, and the idea, or it's a little bit counterintuitive, because most people think that single parents will probably experience it a lot more, but actually a lot of the research suggests that it's opposite, that single parents can find a sense of relief in a way that, they've done it, they've got through, and they've raised a child who is strong to live on their own, and so they can actually celebrate it a little bit more. And also we tend to assume that working parents, because they've been working and therefore haven't been quite as involved in the child's life as somebody who is a homemaker, maybe miss the child less, but actually they have feelings of guilt that they have to worry about. Things like, oh, I wish I'd spent more time with them. I wish I'd taken them out to the fair or to the park or something else. And so it's worth remembering it hits a lot of people in different ways.
Is there any way that you can prepare for it? Because obviously most parents, well, all parents know that it's going to happen eventually. Your child is not going to stay with you forever. And, you know, and I can imagine how tricky it must be, because maybe that child or that teenager or whoever, so excited to leave home and go to uni or whatever, or go abroad and travel. They're excited and the parents are really sort of feeling down. But for the parents, is there anything that you can kind of do beforehand?
Absolutely. You can prepare for it whilst the child is still at home. So one of the things you can do is start entertaining some of the hobbies that you used to have or used to like whilst the child is still there. Because actually what you don't want to do is run straight into something else. It's a little bit like retirement. If you're trying to fill all of your time when the child has gone, actually you might sit there and think, well, I've now joined this club and this club, but I don't really want to. I want to spend a bit of time with myself. So start entertaining some of the hobbies before the child goes away, and that way you've got more of a choice and you won't feel you have to run into something. Don't rush straight into getting a dog or something like that to look after, because it's another responsibility, and that's quite important, that you've just had one responsibility grow up and you've done a great job. You don't need to rush into another one. You may be able to do things like take out photographs that don't include your children to remind yourself that, oh, I did this when I didn't have children, or I did this with my spouse whilst the children were on holiday, or whilst the children were doing something else. Another thing that's quite important is make plans to see the children, but also to start recognising the ways in which your children like to express and receive love. Now, whether you hold much stock by it, there was a book called The 5 Languages of Love by Gary Chapman, and he talked about how people like receiving and giving love in different ways, and those ways sometimes clash. So you might have givers, words of affirmation, quality time, and so on. But if you've got a child who likes words of affirmation, actually a phone call to them saying, oh, how are you doing? You're doing really well. That will mean a lot to them. But if you're a parent who likes quality time, turning up on their doorstep is meaningful to you, but not to them. And so it may be worth trying to negotiate in what ways best to keep in touch. And the other big thing is some of the psychological things just to watch out for. Privacy and safety are the 2 key things that the parent is going to worry about and have a struggle adjusting to. Privacy, the child is growing up, they're going to want to spend more time on their own, they want to keep things a little bit to themselves. And the same thing with security and safety. They're not always going to tell you what time they're coming back home. When they've gone to uni, you're not going to know what it is they're doing. You have to trust that they are doing the right thing. The difficulty is if you become too nagging, if you become too overbearing, that child will not be able to go to you if something does go wrong, because they're going to think, oh, they're just going to say, I told you so, or they're going to be too scared to do it. So it's about accepting, within reason, but trusting that that child is going to do the right thing and always keeping that door open.
Brilliant. Okay, Audrey, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
And we shall see you again next time.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, everybody, so here to shed some light on some of the world's most positive stories is our newsreader, Helena Chard. Welcome to the show, Helena.
Thank you, Chrissy.
How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Hope you are too.
I'm very well, very happy, as is our cake today. So this lovely and happy cake of the week comes courtesy of Cake Create of Mill Hill East. And it looks delighted to see us as well,
Doesn't
Helena.
it? There's lots of very smiley faces. I can't wait to give it a try.
I know. Okay, I don't know what's inside, but we're going to try it in just a while. But first of all, it's our positive news.
Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about some stories about some inspiring young people who have had to leave home due to personal circumstances.
Okay.
So they've made the best of their situation, which I think is always really inspiring. Yes. So starting off with Sophia Kitchi, who's 18. So she lost her mum at the age of 8, unfortunately. And she travelled from Uganda to try and reconnect with her father. Didn't quite work out. She was quite pragmatic, obviously upset, but quite pragmatic about it, and realised she had to try and fend for herself because she was viewed as an adult. But you can imagine it's quite a change, isn't it, coming over here? But she's done incredibly well. She moved to a hostel system. She didn't think she'd be able to get out of it and would be able to cope, but she was very, very strong. She didn't give up. She had a huge dream, which was journalism, and she's done so well. So she's really made her mark. She studied at City University, she interned at Sky TV, secured mentorship through ITV. I mean, she really has kept so busy. While she was working as a steward at the Royal Albert Hall and also supporting herself working at Harrods. So she kept really, I mean, she did well getting all those jobs and everything. Won awards for her work in her Erasmus year, is it, where it's a year away. And now has her flat, so she's really proud that she's obviously renting, because it's very hard to rent in London, as we know, not enough housing. And one of her biggest scoops is that she met HRH Prince William at Centrepoint, and he gave her an interview, and that was published in the big issue, and obviously that springboarded things for her. So just a really lovely little story, which is good. Also a lovely inspirational young man called Greg, another story. He's 18 from Dunfermline in Scotland. Well, he's not actually from there. He's actually was born in Poland, but he had to come over to Scotland when his father died at 9. Mother met someone else, came over to Scotland, didn't speak the language. He wasn't looked after properly, but he managed to, pull through. And he had a basketball coach. He was introduced to basketball, and that was a pivotal point. And we know how sport can really, it's like a hook, isn't it? Yeah. And he, through the help of the Child Protection and Social Services, he managed to meet a foster family. But that was when he was about 14, sort of 14 years old. So for quite a few years, he wasn't supported or fed or anything. So he's done really well. Wow. The thing about it, he now mentors at the basketball place, which is called Twilight Basketball, which was supported by Children in Need. And he's now doing the Rickshaw Challenge, which is something, I don't know if you've seen it on the One Show. So he was chosen by Children in Need to now raise money to help others. But can you imagine coming over from Poland at 9, not speaking the language at all, and fighting a way through? And now he's quite famous. And I love all this. It's just so lovely. We always talk about the ordinary person that achieves the extraordinary, and they're sort of champions, and it's just lovely, isn't it?
It comes from inside, doesn't it? Because these people that, they've been dealt a hard knock in life, I suppose, and some will just kind of crumble and let it affect the rest of their lives, but others will just come out fighting, and they really. But I think everyone has it in them to fight for a better life, even though they've started off not so well. Yeah, and they're just really strong. And also Pride of Britain Awards, which was absolutely fabulous. I mean, so many amazing people have achieved great things. But one young man that stands out for me is Mo Eunice. He's 17 now, and he has a sort of a rare genetic skin disorder, but he was, they diagnosed that he would probably die at 1 year old, and he's now 17. And he just is such an inspirational person. He's been given the Courage Award for all his charity efforts, and he's an ambassador of Acorns Children's Hospice. But the way he spoke, he was just saying that he gets so much happiness from making other people happy, but also saying to the people that, people that have such a great life compared to him, just get out there and achieve lots and go for it. Because obviously he hasn't got that opportunity, but still makes the most of it. And I just thought it was just so inspiring. It's a good lesson, because sometimes, we complain about the smallest things, and with other people so worse off and disadvantaged in some way, and they don't have this, we don't have those same battles they have, but they just get on with it.
Go for it.
Just get on with it.
Amazing. So many people like.
Thank you very much, Helena.
You're welcome.
May I ask you to cut the cake today?
I'd love to.
Okay. So once again, everybody, this cake is from Cake Create in Mill Hill East, and it's a very happy cake, as you can see.
A very happy cake. I almost don't know where to start. Okay.
Now let's see what's in. Oh, it seems nice and soft. Let's see what's inside.
I'm going to just do a little thin piece.
Look, she didn't come all the way to the middle.
Oh, I'm supposed to. I shouldn't know. It's so big. So we always have a surprise what's inside. When it's going into the smiley face. I'm one of these sentimental people, and I don't. Oh, look, I've taken an eye out.
So it's not so easy cutting the cakes, is it?
It's not. You actually do a really good job. Okay, Chrissy.
Oh, and there we go.
This is your piece. Oh, it's chocolate. Oh. Wow, yum.
That looks amazing.
Doesn't it? Oh, I love the chocolate and the yellow and the brown cream. It's beautiful, isn't it?
It smells like Nutella.
I can smell
it's
it from
a happy Nutella cake.
Yum! I can't wait.
Okay, shall we try it? Cut yours as well.
Go and have a bite.
Let's try a little bit of this. I did have a spoon there.
I'll cut some in a minute. That's so gracefully done.
I love Nutella. Well, everyone, don't go away, because after the break, Joanna Costa Manuel talks about her dance production in collaboration with this year's Anti-Bullying Week, along with Paul Hawkes, director of Kung Fu Schools, who was heavily involved in the music video, and choreographer for the dance, Vincent Martin. But first, is this true or false? Since 1996, young adults aged 20 to 34 in the UK are more likely to be living away from their parents. Do you think you know the answer? Find out after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, your TV programme for all things mental health and well-being. Now, before the break, we asked you whether this was true or false. Since 1996, young adults aged 20 to 34 in the UK are more likely to be living away from their parents. The answer is actually false. According to the Office of National Statistics, since 1996, young adults aged 20 to 34 in the UK are more likely to be sharing a home with their parents. So, but you didn't know that. Well, now with us to talk about their contribution to Anti-Bullying Week and their newly released dance number is Autism Parent Empowers Costa Manuel, Paul Hawkes, Director of Kung Fu Schools and dance instructor and choreographer of the music video, Vincent Martin. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Lovely to have you all on. Now, we're going to be watching this amazing video in a few minutes, and I have to say, absolutely loved it, so well done to all of you. So, Jo, can you tell us why you put the video together?
Bullying in general is increasing every single day, and in mainstream school in particular there's a lot of children that are targeted, and it's sad because it's turning into tragedy actually, because a lot of children are now starting to take their lives to this. So this is actually a really serious problem, and we need to sit up and acknowledge it and do something about it. But within the autism community, because of some of their struggles socially, they become really easy targets on the playground and things like that, and we need to be able to stand up for those that were more vulnerable especially. So I was so keen to put together something that would resonate with secondary school children in particular, and I thought if we go out and just do assemblies or send out leaflets, it's not going to do anything, but if we make a music video which might be a bit more appealing, you know, it might just hit home. And I get emotional every time I watch it. I think it's amazing. It's an
amazing video, it really
and
is.
And it's been so powerful to so many people that have watched it. You know, it's brought them to tears, and some of them have been able to resonate and reach out to people and talk about it. So it's been a brilliant campaign. I'm so glad that we were able to do it and fly the flag for some children that can't do that for themselves.
You've had some great help, haven't you? Including help from Paul and Vince here. So can you tell us about your involvement? Let's start with
sure. So I work at the Gatwick School as their dance teacher. They are part of an Aurora Academies. So Jo and I go back for a couple of years now. She asked me to come and choreograph for this amazing opportunity, and it's just absolutely incredible. So we had the auditions, a couple of rehearsals, then we were straight in and then filming. And through that process even now, I've had, I think, 2 students come to me and another member of staff saying they've come to them from the video. So, I mean, already it's been incredible. And that's just the start, isn't it? Because I'm sure as the word spreads, you have a lot more people. What was it like doing the choreography? Did the kids really enjoy it? Yeah, so I had to choreograph, obviously we have a couple of adults in it as well, and the range of abilities throughout all of the students that were involved. So I had to choreograph and make sure that the students that were less able, the students that have high ability, and then the adults as well, that everybody could do it, and they all just took it under their wing and just...
They were great.
Everyone
was brilliant.
Yeah, really good.
It was good. Wonderful. And Paul, what was your contribution to this whole project?
Well, the Kung Fu School sponsored the campaign as such, and then on top of that, we're doing workshops within the schools and assemblies and going into the classrooms to sort of talk about anti-bullying and self-esteem, confidence, and how Kung Fu could help with that as well.
Can you tell us about how it actually does that?
Yeah, a pleasure. I mean, a lot of it is posture. And if people stand well, they feel better about themselves. And then if they're doing better at something, and in martial arts we encourage them and have a grading structure and things, they then feel better about themselves. So self-esteem, confidence, they come to the front of the class, do a few things, we acknowledge their enthusiasm, their improvement, and all of those things, of course, bolster someone. And the more confident you feel, and the higher self-esteem, the less perhaps bullying affects you and it bounces off you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite amazing how just the things that a person will get picked on, even just something like their posture, because it seems to make themselves easy targets.
Well, it's a little bit victim identification, that they can see by how someone's standing, maybe that they stand out a little bit, that someone they could pick on, other than, the colour of your hair, skin, shape, size, and the myriad of other things.
Yeah.
But if you stand well, you already feel like a bit more robust, and it's, but I think it just equips you better. It gives a few more layers. I think people think of martial arts as physically fighting, and actually that's like the tiny part of it. It's much more, your development as a person.
I suppose lots of discipline as well, right? involved?
Yeah, well, but in a fun way, you know, because if you make it really hard for the kids, you know, it's not like some Shaolin temple and shave away everyone's heads and teach them to levitate or anything.
All right. Well, just a question as well. What are the ages of the children that come to you?
We teach from 4 years upwards.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, brilliant. Amazing work. All of you, amazing work. Now, tell us a bit more about the impact that this dance video has been having on people in general.
I mean, I know that people that have watched it have just been in absolute tears. There have been some people that were bullied as children that actually as an adult now can resonate with that. There's children, as Vince said, that are now coming forward and actually having the confidence. And as you know, at Autism Parent Empower, we're very much about empowering the parents that we work with. And I think through this project, we've given children a voice and given them that sort of self-esteem and confidence, as Paul has said, and that personal empowerment to have the confidence to stand up and talk to somebody and speak out. So
I'm glad you actually mentioned the parents, because we did a show recently actually that was released at the beginning of Anti-Bullying Week, and we actually spoke about the parents that have been bullied but never actually opened up and spoke to anyone, and are still actually affected by the bullying that they went through as children. So I mean, even that's a whole other market of people really that could be affected by and will be affected by this music video, and encourage people to actually open up, because it doesn't matter whether you're a child or an adult, if you've been affected, you
it's the encouragement that you've just said that is the most important thing, I think. So for me, working in a school and doing the work that I do outside of school, opening up that safe place, and I would imagine it's to come through as well, open up that safe place for them to come in and to talk about it is the most important thing.
It is, definitely.
Especially if you have a child with autism, it's seeing them go through something that you can't actually help them with and feeling like you're the only person in the world going through this. And when you see something like this and feel like you're part of a community that all gets it and wants to create change, it's very powerful for parents as well that have perhaps seen their child go through extreme bullying. So I think all round it's been brilliant.
It's amazing. Now, of course, you had Anna Kennedy involved in the videos, who's our other autism expert, resident expert on the show. Can you tell us about that as well?
Yeah, I think it's powerful that Anna and I, you know, both working closely with you, were able to be in that together. And it's funny because Vince, he did spend less time with the children than he did with me and Anna trying to work out the moves.
You two are brilliant in it.
Anna's such a good dancer. I was a little bit weaker, but it was so much fun. And you know, together we're so passionate about supporting people with autism. So it was a really powerful platform for us to come together and be able to spread this message. So it was just a really good, fun day, and it's been so positive. So I hope that this just keeps on going. You know, like you said, it's not just Anti-Bullying Week that this that we raise awareness. It needs to be implemented every single day.
Definitely. And we do ask everyone to share the video. You know, get it out there as much as possible, and let's raise as much awareness as possible. Should we watch it now?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's take a look, guys.
13 million children around the globe that are bullied every single year, and this shouldn't be tolerated on any level. Whether you're in the autism community, in a mainstream school, online, in a relationship, in a workplace, you know, it happens everywhere and it's not on. And this is our way of trying to create a difference during this important week.
A few years ago, we conducted a survey to parents to ask about autism and bullying. Over 60% of families shared that their children had been bullied in mainstream schools, and this was due to their autism and their social interaction in the playground, which made them easy targets. If creating this anti-bullying campaign is going to stop one child from being bullied,
then this has been totally worth it. So please share this video and help us spread this important message.
thank you.
Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. And all the things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. I will scream out loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight chasing sleep. Everybody's worried about me. In too deep, say I'm in too deep. It's been 2 years and I miss home, but this fire burning in my bones. Still believe, yeah, still believe. And all those things I didn't say, wrecking balls inside my brain. Now I scream them loud tonight. Can you hear my voice this time? This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. Yeah, 'cause I still got a lot of fight left in me. Ooh, a lot of fight left in me. Yeah, yeah. Like a small boat on the ocean, sending big waves into motion. Like how a single word can make a heart open. I might only have one match, but I can make an explosion. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. My power's turned on. Starting right now, I'll be strong. I'll play my fight song. And I don't really care if nobody else believes. Oh, a lot of fight left in me. Yeah. No, I've still got a lot of fight left in me.
I'm doing this video because I want to make a change to all the children that are getting bullied. I'm doing this video because I had a friend who was bullied, and even if I could just deter one bully to stop, then that would help at least one person.
I'm doing this video because I want to support children in our age group. I want to be in this video to tell you you should be brave and speak out if you're being bullied.
If you see bullying, report it.
Stop bullying now!
So what an amazing video, I'm sure you'll agree. Joe, thank you so much for everything.
Welcome.
Also Vince and Paul, brilliant job, absolutely loved it.
Thank you.
And Joe, we'll see you again very soon on the programme.
Yeah.
Well, don't go away, because after the break we have nutritionist Hannah Richards on the show talking about what foods students and recent movers can make to ease anxious feelings of being away from home. And she also answers your nutrition questions, including this one. It's the holiday season and there are so many unhealthy foods about. What can I eat that is both festive and good for you? Let's see the answer after this break. Hi, I'm Chrissy B and my show is all about improving your mental health and being happy. Join me every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 10 p.m. on my channel Sky 203. Visit chrissybshow.tv for more information and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Chrissy B Show. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chrissy B Show and on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. Welcome back to The Chrissy B Show, everyone, the TV program that loves to look after your mental health and well-being. So now with us is nutritionist Hannah Richards, who'll be telling us what foods students and recent movers should eat to ease those anxious jitters you get when moving away from home, but also things that are very cost-effective as well. Welcome to the show, Hannah.
Hi, Chrissy, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
So obviously moving is a big deal for a lot of people, and maybe they get quite busy, and obviously you've got the students that are trying to look after their budgets as well. So there's quite a few things that people can do, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the main things, sometimes cooking is a bit scary for people, and certainly if you've had your mum cook for you all your life, and then you have to go and do it yourself, it can be a bit daunting. And the natural thing is probably just to live on sandwiches, isn't it? So today I thought I'd show you a bit of a posh pizza.
Yes.
And it's really easy to do. It's really, you can use any ingredients which we're going to show you today, and it's cheap and anyone can make it.
Okay, cool.
Ready?
Yes.
Okie dokie. So it's we're doing a bit of cheating because who's got time to make pastry?
Not me. So this is just pre-bought pastry that you can buy literally in a roll, and you just unroll it. Okay. And it's really, and you just leave it into a room temperature so it gets a bit soft, because if you leave it in the fridge, then it's quite hard to unroll and it will break. And then you'll have to get your rolling pin out and start mending all the cracks. Okay. So I'm just going to move that over there to you. So this is just tomato puree, which you can buy in any supermarket. It's really cheap and it's always on all your pizzas that you will buy when you're going out. So we're just going to put a layer of that on there. And the good thing about these pizzas is that you can just put whatever you want on it.
Okay.
So that's some cheddar. You're going to sprinkle that all over for me, Chrissy. Okay. And you can use goat's cheese or buffalo mozzarella, any type of cheese you liked. Or if you were you had a dairy-free diet, you don't have to use cheese at all.
That's true. Should I put all of it?
Yeah, go for it. Really, really. There we go. Really kit it out. So then we're going to use a few herbs. So we're going to use some oregano. I'm just going to sprinkle them. You can use fresh herbs as well, but I just thought that I'd use the dried herbs today, just to show you that you can, and how easy
if you don't have the fresh ones at home, at least have these stored away somewhere.
We're going to use some black olives. So olives are a great source of fat. You can use green ones. Some people, they're a bit love-hate olives, aren't they? Do you like olives?
I love them. Oh, come on, Greek.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
So we're just going to scatter them around. And then we're going to put some ham on. So a bit of protein. We've got to keep the protein up for these students studying, being busy, using their brains. And again, you could use anything. You could use some turkey. You could use prawns, pineapple.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Hawaiian pizza. What else have we got? A bit of black pepper.
This is so quick.
And exactly.
Yeah.
And a bit of salt, sea salt. Bob's your uncle. There's a posh pizza. So now this is the tricky bit.
You didn't think anything would just be straightforward with Hannah. She's going to make it look really amazing now. What's she going to do?
So then you've got to start rolling it.
Okay.
And if the pastry has got to room temperature and it's nice and malleable, it should just roll like this. Perfect. There we go. And
you got skills.
I got skills. Don't say it too soon.
Yes,
jinx me. So you just roll it up like this. Perfect. And we're going to roll it round so that that end there sticks down.
Yeah.
And then we're going to I'll cut him here actually. So you've got a nice long sausage. And then all you're going to do, just cut down, make sure the knife's nice and sharp. The first one, the bum, might be a bit funny because he's sort of been squeezed out. And you can see that all that ingredients is really keeping them all together. Yeah. You might just have to put a little bit of, just tuck them in. Okay. So they might come out. But I'm going to cut half of these through just so you get the idea.
Okay.
And then all we're going to do is with some olive oil, and you can use a brush, but if you don't have a brush, which you might not as a student, you can equally just use the back of a spoon, and it just gives it a little shine, a bit of glaze, so when they come out of the oven, they look like they've just come out of a restaurant.
So how long do you put this in for?
Put them in the oven for 180 degrees, about 15-20 minutes, but keep looking at it. And the moment that the pastry starts to get a little bit golden, you're good to pull them out and eat them. And luckily for you, here's some I made earlier. And as you can see, these ones, Chrissy, they're just slightly different. They've got mushrooms in them, some sweet cherry tomatoes. So really, whatever your fancy, you can just.
These look amazing. That's so posh.
So posh.
Posh pizza. This is what we're calling
posh pizza.
Hannah's posh pizza. Okay. These are so good. I'm going to try one a bit later.
Absolutely do.
Shall we answer a few viewer questions
first?
Let's go for it. Okay, we've got a few questions here. buried under here somewhere. Okay, so the first question, which I think is a question on many people's minds.
Yes.
It's the holiday season and there are so many unhealthy foods about. What can I eat that is both festive and good for you?
Well, you could eat some posh pizza.
Posh pizza.
Oh, it's so difficult at Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would go with this rule. Pick your poison. Alcohol, chocolate-coated nuts, sugared fruits, canapes, the whole works. Just limit the amount of things you eat, because before you know it, you've had 2 meals. You've eaten all the canapes at the party with 3 glasses of wine, a few nuts, and you know, then you go home for dinner. So I would stick to the things that are that have got some greenery on it, some vegetables. But again, it is quite
It's hard because I think at Christmas time as well, there's so much variety. You just want to try everything. And obviously, certain places, they've got like limited edition stuff.
Exactly.
So like,
and
you
everything
want to, like, just pack it all into it.
And everything is just bite-sized, isn't it? So you feel like you're not really eating much. Yeah. But actually, you're...
You are. Maybe drink lots of water as well.
Drink
so that you
water.
Get full up and...
I mean, a good tip actually is if you are going to sort of a drinks party or an office party or whatever it is maybe eat before you go. And then you're not going to be, you know, you're not going to be eating at the buffet, but... That's a good idea. And fill up on water. Water fills you up as well.
Yes, definitely. Okay, next question, Hannah. This one's about maple syrup, actually. It's quite an interesting one. Is maple syrup and honey actually good for you? I've heard that they're just as bad for you as refined sugar. Also, which one is better out of the two, honey or maple syrup?
It's a tricky one. I would always advise someone to use maple syrup or honey over refined sugars. So, you know, your white table sugar for sure, because they are natural products.
Yeah.
However, the way that honey can be processed can be just as damaging as the way that like milk is processed as well. They're both pasteurized products, so they can both sort of end up being heated to a degree that they deplete all the goodness in them. Okay. So my advice would be is take honey that has come from the most local hives to you. And spend some money, as much money as you can, on the honey as well. It's going to be a better product. Okay. I don't think it's bad for you. It's about the quantity that you use it in as well.
And is that same for maple syrup as well?
Same for maple syrup. I think the maple syrup's probably slightly lower glycemic index, so less sugar if you like, but they're very similar. But I don't have a problem with them, either of them. I think they're much better than white table sugar. Yeah. And as long as you use them sparingly. Okay, if we can. Okay, next question, actually, last one for today. My friend has started intermittent fasting and swears it's super good for you. Is this true? Yes, it can be. I think one of the things is we as humans all eat too much, don't we? Well, a lot of us do. Yes. And we seem to spend our days eating. So the idea of a fast not only reduces inflammation, but it gives your digestive system a bit of a rest as well. Okay. So the idea with fasting is that you keep food out of your digestive system for about 16 to 18 hours. And you only eat within a window of sort of 8 to 10 hours. So you're not just grazing all the way through the day. It's a good tool for weight loss. It's a good tool to reduce inflammation. It helps with diabetes if you've got really high blood glucose levels. Some people do it in that intermittent fasting all the time. You could also just do a fast once a week, maybe on a Monday when you've super overindulged at the weekend. It's not for everyone, but it's like anything, it's something to get used to, but it does take the load off the body. Okay. Yes.
I could never do it, sorry.
I know. Well, not with smelling foods like this.
Shall we have one, Hannah?
I think we should.
There you go.
Oh, they smell, I have to say, they do smell pretty good.
They do smell amazing. I noticed you've got fresh basil in this one, haven't you? Oh. Bit messy to eat, but... This is so good. So simple, so tasty. Nutritious. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Pleasure.
But everyone, don't go away, because after the break, Chef Danielle Shine shows us how to make a yummy and healthy meat-free meatballs, and I give you my tips on how to cope with homesickness. But first, what is the average age parents expect children to move out of home? Is it A, 18, B, 21, or C, 25? Find out the answer after this break. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone, where today we've been talking all about leaving the nest. Now, before the break, I asked you, what is the average age parents expect children to move out of home? Is it A, 18, B, 21, or C, 25? The answer is 25. According to GoCompare.com, parents expect children to be financially stable and to leave the nest at this age. However, with entry-level income staying unchanged despite rising rent and housing prices, that number is slowly rising. Now, before I give you my tips on how to cope with homesickness, here's Chef Danielle Shine at raw vegan restaurant Rawligion showing us how to make delicious meat-free meatballs.
Hi everyone, I'm Chef Danielle Shine and I am here today at Rawligion in the heart of London. Rawligion is revolutionising the way Londoners eat by offering raw, organic, vegan, delicious, healthy food. And I am lucky because John, the owner, is here with me today to teach me how to make a very special dish that I love. What are we making, John?
Well, thanks for the lovely introduction, Danielle. Today we're making one of our specialties. It's a meatball marinara, pasta, meat, all the things that you wouldn't expect from a raw vegan place.
No.
How can you have raw pasta?
I don't know, this is very confusing to me. And meatballs, how can you have organic, plant-based meatballs?
Ah, great question. So we'll start off with that. We'll start off with the meatballs.
Cool, let's do it.
Obviously we're not using meat, so we're using walnuts.
Okay, so we start with walnuts.
Yes.
And straight into the food processor. What do we put in next?
Okay, so now we're gonna add a few of the oils just to help it blend, and of course for flavoring. You need to have olive oil. How can you have an Italian dish?
You have to have olive oil for everything.
Absolutely.
After the cold pressed oil, what do we add in there?
Okay, so now, again, it's the
my favorite thing.
Garlic.
Love garlic.
Amazing for flavor, amazing
also
health benefits.
antibacterial.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Yeah.
So the next ingredient we're going to be adding is tamari.
Okay.
Which is...
It's like soy sauce, but it's gluten-free.
Now we come on to an ingredient which I've been led to believe is one of your favorite ingredients.
It's one of my favorite ingredients.
This is also most raw vegans' prized possession. Nutritional yeast, an inactive form of yeast. Am I correct in saying it's one of the only ways of getting B12 in your diet if you're
It
vegan?
is food, plant-based B12. It's very, very rich in nutrients. It's very high in protein.
So we're on to one of our last ingredients. It's a classic, lemon juice, of course. Lastly, one of the most beautiful herbs, cleansing for your blood. We've got parsley. And here we go, the on button. So, once you guys have pulsed this about 3 times, you can gauge it by eyesight. Essentially, you don't want it to become a puree. You want there to still have, you can see little bits of nuts.
Yep. It's not totally
You want to
soft.
enjoy eating it. It's not baby food.
Not at all.
So now, we're going to scrape this down. Oh,
I'm going to help you
thank
with
you
that.
very much. We're going to pour this out into the bowl. Thank you. And
looks so good. This looks interesting. Hang on a minute. Is this not what we use for ice creams?
For vegan ice creams,
Whoa,
yes. Not normal ice creams, of course.
I love these. So we're going to learn a very secret tip here. This is super cool because I have a feeling you're going to make some balls with this.
Of
That's
course.
genius.
So let's take a scoop, pop it out, give it a little roll, and in here we drop it in our breadcrumb mix. And I'm sure you've guessed by now, it's not real breadcrumb. It's a combination of sunflower seeds, dill, a little bit of seasoning. Again, it adds a bit of texture, a bit of color, and of course, even more flavor.
So just straight in there. I'll help you.
Thank you.
And they already are very solid now.
Yeah, they're ready to eat.
Yeah,
I mean, at this stage
so
in the
fantastic.
restaurant, we put them in the fridge to set for maybe half an hour. But again, it's food. As long as it tastes great, it's super healthy.
That's true.
Enjoy it.
We are back. We have made the meatballs and now we are ready to make our marinara sauce. What are we making? How do we do it?
So we are gonna make, well, we're obviously gonna use a variety of different tomatoes to try and create a cooked flavor marinara, essentially.
Fascinating. Okay, so we've got raw.
Full-bodied tomatoes.
Yummy. And that's scooped out. I'm seeing the pulp.
Yes, we will throw these in here.
Okay.
Here we go. Oh. Somewhat anticlimactic. Okay, so now we're ready to put in the rest of the ingredients. The trick to this recipe is the next ingredient, and that is amazing organic. These are actually raw as well.
Wow.
Sun-dried tomatoes. Now, we've got in here at this stage just tomatoes. So now we're gonna add in our seasoning. We've got our trusty old friend, pink Himalayan salt.
Love that.
Yummy, yummy. Then we've got some pepper.
Yes. Must have pepper in a marinara sauce.
Wouldn't be right otherwise. We've got some diced up garlic.
Delish.
Just under a tablespoon.
Okay.
And lastly, in this department,
what is this?
Is some oregano. So we've got the oregano in here now. And this stage is when we add our wonderful basil.
Basil.
One of my favorite herbs in the world.
I feel like you just absolutely cannot have a marinara sauce without fresh basil.
Olive oil, of course. It's an Italian dish.
Naturally, more olive oil.
Lastly, the secret ingredient is some beautiful dates.
Yum!
Now we're adding these for a little bit of sweetness.
Okay.
And of course they have some good health benefits.
They do, they've got a lot of fibre in them.
So, yeah, here we go. Once you're finished blending, obviously at this stage you want to try a little bit, make sure it tastes good. It should smell great because of the basil. Well, thank you very much. You can see, I've been so busy here. I've been to the gym.
I mean, that looks like marinara sauce.
I think so, yeah.
That is just beautiful.
If you guys want to have a little look.
Okay, John, we have our marinara sauce, we have our meatballs, but where's our pasta?
So, we're obviously not cooking pasta, and there's no real nutritional benefits to consuming pasta. So what we're gonna do is you can take at home whatever root vegetable you guys have. So you can use butternut squash, you can use carrots even. We're using a courgette.
Yeah.
And essentially all we're doing is we're kind of like slicing it. Loads of people now on their food processors, they have different types of machinery that makes these little spiral
Like
type.
noodles?
Exactly. So
Yum.
that's what we're doing. So we're taking courgette, we're gonna put it in a spiraling machine, end up with noodles, then we're gonna assemble it. So I'm gonna bring out some courgettes from my fridge.
Okay.
So here, we've got some courgettes that we spiralized earlier.
So these are the spiralized courgettes.
So, anyway, so what we're gonna do is just put a generous amount of these courgette noodles here.
Okay.
Essentially make it look like pasta.
I love that.
Nice and easy. Now we're gonna spoon on some marinara.
Ooh.
And for the piece de resistance, of course, we need the meatballs. So yeah, we'll just put in.
This is brilliant. Wow. Okay, so that is our non-meatball marinara. That is just one plate of absolute goodness. I can't think of anything that's in there that's going to aggravate the body or the gut. That's what I love about it. Now,
so try it.
Leaves one more thing for us to do.
Our turn to try it.
Yeah, because I am salivating. So cheers.
Cheers. I hope you like it, otherwise, you know, it'll be pretty awkward.
Okay. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is so good. That really tastes like meat. Wow. Okay, enough said.
Thank you very much.
It is time for us to go, but please, before we go, we're going to tell you that the recipe is now on the Chrissy B website. Thank you so much, John, for sharing this recipe.
Thanks for having me.
All the secret tips, and we will be seeing you again soon.
Thank you very much to Rawligion there. So now it's time for some tips on how you can cope with homesickness, and these come courtesy of BBC Capital. So the first point is to engage in some self-reflection. Now, feeling homesick sometimes isn't, just about missing certain people or comforts. It can go a lot deeper than that. So think about what it is that you're really missing. It might actually be a different version of yourself. Maybe you're so comfortable, or you were so comfortable at home, you knew who you were, you were confident about yourself, but now that you're in a different environment, you may be a bit unsure of yourself. So that may be one of the reasons why you're homesick. So you need to deal with that from the root. So the second point is that making new friends helps homesickness. So of course, if you are maybe feeling uncomfortable, you may not feel like going out and making new friends, but the sooner you do this, the better, because you could actually make yourself feel worse. It will be more difficult for you to go out there and meet people if you leave it too late, because you're going to probably get used to being on your own. So as soon as you can, try and meet new people, talk to new people, strike up conversations. And sometimes, you know, you can actually end up meeting some really lovely people that way. You're not going to get along with everyone, of course, but the more you speak to people, the more you'll discover people that you can be quite close with. And the last one that I've got time for today's program is to hang on to some of home. So this, of course, means that, you know, you stay in touch with your family members. There's so many ways to do that nowadays, and with, you know, free calls on Skype and all sorts of things, you have so many ways of actually keeping in touch. You don't have to be letter writing anymore like we used to do in the past. So, you know, talk to your family regularly. I don't recommend that you do this every single day, because you need to actually kind of start letting go a bit and becoming more independent. And if you're always talking to your family and friends back home, this isn't going to help you make that transition smoothly. So maybe once a week, speak to people. Obviously, you have your social media and things, you can keep up to date with that, send them messages, so you've got that option as well. And also do maybe some of the things that you used to do at home. So for example, certain meals that you would have at home, you can also make where you are now. But also try to start doing new things, because if you're just hanging on and trying to keep all the memories and all the people from back home, I think it's good to do that to some extent, because, you know, you're still connected somehow to your family and friends, but try to start new habits, new routines, so new places to go, as I said before, new friends, maybe some new hobbies in the area that you are now. So it could be maybe some fitness classes in your area, or some kind of other classes, arts and crafts. You can try so many different things. So try to implement some new things into your new life that you can actually look forward to, because I think the mistake many people make is that they don't really do anything different, and they don't try new things, and it's like all their focus is on, okay, I'm going to do this, for example, for this semester, and then I can't wait to go back home and do the usual things that I do at home. But that way you're never actually going to become independent and move on. So make sure you have, in a way, I would say, the best of both worlds. So you have a happy life away from home, and you have a happy life to go home to when, you know, you do return back to your family and friends. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, or you have some comments about today's episodes or any of our past episodes, don't forget you can contact us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about me, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye-bye for now.
Let's not share them.
No. Should we just... Should we leave? Okay. Thank you so much, Hannah.
Pleasure.
I shall try to do the link to break now. So don't go away, because after the break we have Hang on.